Hey, what's going on? I just got this huge box in the mail and I figured I would show you guys what's inside of it because I think it's gonna be pretty cool. I'll give you a hint, it's a book. Keeping with that theme, I figured I'd also share with you some of my favorite books. If you're looking for a good fiction book, top 3 would be number 1, The Count of Monte Cristo. This book has it all. It's a great story, it's smart, it's a page turner, and that's a rare combo. And it was written almost 200 years ago, so it's pretty fascinating to read about what was going on back then. There's a few different translations of this book. I would recommend the Penguin Classics one, so check that out. I'll give you a warning, it's really hard to put down. Number 2, favorite fiction book would have to be Shantaram. I'm not a huge fan of poetry unless it's Dr. Seuss or Shel Silverstein. It just doesn't do much for me. This book, at least to me, is what poetry aspires to be. I remember reading this book and just being in awe that someone could craft and arrange these words in such a way that made me feel so much. It's a beautifully written book. If you're a fan of audiobooks, it's hands down the best audiobook I've ever listened to. So check out Shantaram. Number 3, favorite fictional book, and this book is kind of polarizing, but it's also one of the most influential books in the United States. Can you guess what it is? It's Atlas Shrugged. I remember reading this book probably about 10 years ago, and the idea of personal freedom, personal responsibility is something that really resonated with me at the time, and a lot of messages in that book kind of stuck with me till today. Ayn Rand's ability to interweave this philosophy inside a really compelling story is something that I think she did a great job with. Most authors don't attempt to do this, and she accomplished this with a bunch of her books. Each one of those books, they're kind of on the long side, not a book you can pick up and finish in an afternoon. Count of Monte Cristo is a little over 1,300 pages long, comes in at 2.5 pounds for the hardcover. This box, this book, which I'm going to open up in a minute, comes in at 17 pounds. So this is a really big book. I want to tell you a little about the author of this book. If anyone asks for a book recommendation and they don't specify, I want a fiction book, the author of this book, Seth Godin, is someone who I always recommend. He's the author of 18 best-selling books. If you've ever given your email address to a company and wanted to get new updates from them, you have him to thank for it. He really started and pioneered the idea of permission marketing. Plus, he just makes a lot of cool stuff. I don't know too many authors that have their own action figures. So Seth Godin's a really cool dude. Here's one of my favorite books by him. This is a book that I've given to a lot of people as a gift. It's called V is for Vulnerable, Life Outside the Comfort Zone. And he says it's an ABC for grown-ups. So we'll flip through it. I'll show you what it looks like. It's got all this different artwork, a different letter on each page. I will keep flipping. Let's see. I'll pick this one. C is for commitment. Commitment is the only thing that gets you through the chasm. Commitment takes you from, that's a fine idea, to, it's done. Commitment is risky because if you fail, it's on you. On the other hand, without commitment, you will fail because art unshipped isn't art. So this book's really cool. It's a great book to leave kind of on your coffee table. People can pick it up and browse through it. V is for Vulnerable. Another one of my favorite books of his, What to Do When It's Your Turn, and It's Always Your Turn. This book is beautiful. The layout is just gorgeous. This is one of those books that you can also just kind of pick up and read from whatever page you land on. So much of his writing really makes you think, and I love that about him. But he really goes beyond that. He encourages you to kind of take action, to make something happen, to create art. And I have Seth to kind of thank for the spark for making me really want to create a video of my own. I've made a ton of videos, but I'm always behind the camera. The spark that led me to create my first video where I'm on camera telling a story, I was in the middle reading a Seth Godin book, and I just had that thought, you got to go film a video, and so that's what I did. This book is not his first 17-pound book. Actually, kind of cool story. Exactly 4 years ago to the day that I got this book, December 7th, 2012, I got his other book. It's called, it's right over there, it's called This Might Work, and it came in this box. I've moved a few times since then, but I've brought this box with me. I keep it hanging in my room. It says, tomorrow's too late, yesterday is over, and now is exactly the right moment, so start. Pretty cool message. let's get to this book. I want to see what it looks like. This box is pretty cool. It says Electrons and Photons, Proceedings of the 1927 Solvay Conference. This is the conference where a lot of the participants, I think more than half of them, went on to win the Nobel Prize. So pretty cool poster. Let's take a look at what it's got. Whoa. Oh my gosh, this book is heavy. This book is called What Does It Sound Like When You Change Your Mind? And his last book was a really great layout, but it didn't really have any photos in it. Now, this book is just filled up with really great photos. I can't really flip through it right here, so I'll put it down, film a little flip through, and I'll read one of his posts at random. Okay, so this book is a collection of Seth's writings from the past 4 years. I just flipped to this random page, and I'm going to read one of his writings. This one's called No Signal. At a party the other day, I saw a dead TV monitor. On the screen it said something like, no signal, check power, cable, and source selection. It doesn't matter at all how hard the DVD player was trying to put on a show. It's irrelevant how good the show on cable was. If it's not getting through, no one sees it. All of us own our own media companies now. We each have the ability to speak up, to tell our stories, and if we're good, and if we're lucky, to be heard. Too often, though, there's no signal. You may be pumping noise through your social media outlets, but noise isn't signal. It's merely a distraction. You're talking, but you're not saying anything. At least nothing that's being heard. You get to choose your story. If the story you've chosen doesn't get through, it's up to you to fix that. Pick a story that reflects your work, sure, but also one that resonates with the receiver. Let's read another one. This one's called What Do You Make? Decisions. You don't run a punch press or haul iron ore. Your job is to make decisions. The thing is, the farmer who grows corn has no illusions about what his job is. He doesn't avoid planting corn or dissemble or procrastinate about harvesting corn. And he certainly doesn't try to get his neighbor to grow his corn for him. Make more decisions. That's the only way to get better at it. Okay, so that was What Does It Sound Like When You Change Your Mind? If you're a fan of Seth, if you're a fan of collector's items, I definitely recommend you picking up this book soon because there's only one pressing of this book. Probably a few copies left. Once it's sold out for good. His last book of this size, this might work once it's sold out. I think now you can get a used copy for probably no less than $400 online. So pick up this book soon if it's something you're interested in. Check out the other books that I recommend. And if you read some of Seth's books, I hope you follow his advice and make something happen. I'm really grateful to the people that make art, that make these books, because I love reading them. On that note, I will say bye. If you've got some favorite books of yours, leave them in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.